Why are the Leafs like this? Welcome to From Center Ice. My name is Courtney, and oh, Leafs Nation. The last time that we talked, I had gone over how the Leafs had a lot of very strange games as of late, but I ended that by saying that the games coming up for the Leafs are very winnable ones, which they desperately needed with the way that their season is trending. They are still picking up wins, but these games that they are playing are not ones that you want to have going into the postseason. They still have plenty of games left to turn this around, but we'll see if that happens. So the last time that we did talk was before that Vancouver game that the Leafs then went on to lose 6-4. Even though they were leading 4-3 at the end of the second period, but the Canucks scored 3 goals in the third period, so 6-4 it was. But then they had back-to-back wins! Barely. First up was the Columbus Blue Jackets, and the Toronto Maple Leafs took a 3-0 lead into the first intermission. And then they scored 0 goals in the second period, but the Blue Jackets scored 2 goals in the second period. So on to the third period, where Jack Roslovic ties the game just about 2.5 minutes into that last period. And I was thinking, you were probably thinking, we were all probably collectively thinking, oh God, here we go again. But just a few minutes later, Alexander Kerfoot comes back and gives the Maple Leafs the lead. And then 11 minutes and 21 seconds into the third period, God bless him, Michael Bunting made it 5-3 in favor of Toronto. And then 19 minutes and 12 seconds into the third period, Patrik Laine scored to make it 5-4, still in favor of Toronto, but 5-4. And thankfully, that's how it ended. The very next night, the Toronto Maple Leafs took on the Seattle Kraken, which they beat 6-4, which is a bit better. Of course, one of those was an empty netter, but don't get too caught up in the details. The Leafs scored 3 goals in the third period and won 6-4. And then came March 10th, the day in which we learned that Jack Campbell will be out for at least 2 weeks with a rib injury. Cool! We're not panicking, right? Of course not that Jack Campbell was at the top of his game. Neither goaltender has been at the top of their game lately, which was very well on show when they took on the Arizona Coyotes that night, and Petr Mrázek. There's no way to describe the goals that went in on him in that game. It's just Thankfully, 3 third period goals from the Leafs took the game to overtime, but 2 minutes and 17 seconds into overtime, Jakob Chychrun ended it for the Coyotes, and the Leafs lost to Arizona again. Which brings us to this afternoon when the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Buffalo Sabres took it outside for the Heritage Classic. I don't know about you, but I like watching outdoor games. I don't like watching the Chicago Blackhawks in outdoor games. 1, because they suck at them and always lose. 2, because they just got way too many of them there for a while and I got very tired of it. Don't worry guys, it wasn't just people not around Chicago. We were sick of them too, especially because they very much sucked in them. But anyway, I love watching outdoor games. It's a fun atmosphere, especially when it's snowing and it's super cold. Takes it back to the roots of hockey, you know, playing outside on a frozen pond. And it's neat to have a good rivalry play in those outdoor games. And you've got Toronto and Buffalo, which is a very strong rivalry. Of course, it is the same Buffalo Sabres that just beat the Leafs 5-1 a few weeks ago. But again, don't get caught up in all the details. This is a brand new game, a brand new day. The Leafs have a chance to win it. Petr Mrázek was in net again, because like I said before, Jack Campbell is out for at least 2 weeks. So we have the first period, and not a lot really happened, but it was a good period overall, I think. At least it was entertaining to watch. Both teams had chances. The Leafs did get outshot 14-9, which isn't ideal, but the snow on the ice and, you know, just the atmosphere and all of the differences that go from playing in an arena where you can control the ice a little bit more and the environment to playing outside where it's snowing and, you know, it's windy and whatever, it's freezing. I mean, you need it to be cold for the ice, which I guess you don't because they had the games out on the West Coast before. Whatever, don't get caught up in the details. So they got outshot 14-9, and neither team scored. They go into the first intermission scoreless. On to the second period, and these teams didn't want to keep it scoreless for too long. You know, scoring goals is fun. Seeing goals being scored is fun, and it only took 40 seconds into this period for William Nylander to have the puck, cut to the center of the ice, get a shot off. The shot didn't go in, but it bounced around a little. Ondrej Kase picked it up, tucked it into the net, 1-0 Maple Leafs. It was a bit messy, bit weird of a play. Craig Anderson probably wasn't too pleased with how that all played out, but pucks bounce, the ice isn't super great, snowing, things happen, and the Leafs had the lead, so I can't complain. But less than a minute later, here comes Vinny Hinostroza with the puck off of a terrible line change by, both teams really, but Toronto gave up the puck and gave it to Vinny Hinostroza, former Blackhawk Vinny Hinostroza. Sorry about that, Leafs fans. And I'm not really sure what the Leafs were doing here. It seemed that they were also pretty confused about how everything was playing out. Morgan Rielly took his guy, but his guy wasn't really involved in the play other than crashing the net, and John Tavares was there, but Hinostroza sent the perfect pass over to Peyton Krebs, who then put it past Petr Mrázek. The game was tied 1-1. But about a minute and a half later, in comes who else but Auston freaking Matthews, puts a shot at the net. It wasn't the best shot in the world, but he beat Craig Anderson as the puck trickled past him. Anderson got a piece of the puck, but it wasn't enough, and the puck went in. It was 2-1 in favor of the Leafs. And having a lead is fun, and outdoor games are fun, and all of the fun. Until 10 minutes and 53 seconds into the second period, when once again Vinny Hinostroza gets on the score sheet, but this time it was his own goal, sort of. He threw the puck toward the front of the net, and it hit TJ Brodie, who was trying to kick it away, but instead of going to his right, it went to his left, and unfortunately to his left was the net, and it went off of his skate and into the net past Petr Mrázek. It was a strange bounce. It was maybe the most Maple Leafs bounce of all time, because there is no reason why the puck should have bounced that way, and as hard as it did off of his skate to where Petr Mrázek could not react fast enough to then get the puck away from the open net. No, the game was tied 2-2. And that's where the game just completely bottomed out and everything went awry, because they had the most Maple Leafs goal of all time coming off of the worst bounce off of their own defender's skate into the net when it shouldn't have bounced that way, and again, as hard as it did to just speed into the net. Like, nope, this puck, it had seeing eyes, it was like, I want to be in the net, but Vinny Hinostroza did not shoot me at the net, so I'm going to find any way possible to get into the net, so I'm going to bounce the opposite way off of TJ Brodie's skate and into that net, because that's where I want to be. Because this is the Maple Leafs we are talking about, and that is what happens to them. Into the second intermission, tied 2-2. You know what else happens against the Leafs? More horrible goals. And another one came only 5 minutes and 16 seconds into the third period, when once again, Vinny Hinostroza, just having the game of his freaking life out here, takes the puck off to Mrazek's blocker side and just puts the puck on the net from the worst angle. He's about on the goal line-ish, and it just goes in. It hit Mrázek, sort of. It looked like it kind of bounced off of him and took an upward projection into the net instead of just going straight into the net, which it would have if Mrázek wasn't there, but he did get a piece of it. I guess credit to him for that. But he wasn't on his post, so there was a hole and the puck just found its way through instead of, going just a little bit this way or a little bit that way and hitting the post or hitting Mrázek and staying out. Nope, it went right under his arm into the net, and the Buffalo Sabres had the 3-2 lead, and they weren't done! 13 minutes and 49 seconds into the third period, Kyle Okposo has the puck. Kyle Okposo tries to score. He does not score, but the puck gets to Dylan Cousins behind the net. He puts it out front to, once again, Peyton freaking Krebs, who just puts the puck into the net as the net comes off. Everybody's like, is it a goal? Is it not a goal? It was a goal. 4-2 Sabres. And then there was a whole kerfuffle in front of the net with Auston Matthews and I believe it was Rasmus Dahlin. And they were going at each other, cross-check after cross-check after cross-check. And oh my gosh, something is going to go very wrong here because the refs did not have a hold of this game at all. And Auston Matthews gets one up too high on Rasmus Dahlin, gets him more in the neck area. Now, I don't think Auston tried to aim for his neck area. He probably tried to go for an arm or a shoulder. Doesn't matter what you intended to do. What matters is what you did, and that was a very bad play. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets some supplemental discipline, whether that be a fine or a suspension. But you know what? I would also not be surprised if he didn't get anything because the Department of Player Safety is a joke, but that's a topic for a different day. So there was that. Both guys went off to the box. And then eventually 17 minutes and 35 seconds into the third period with the goaltender pulled, Tage Thompson puts the puck into the empty net, killing any hopes that the Leafs had of coming back in this game to tie it up, maybe take it to overtime. None of that happened, and the Leafs lost 5-2, which is only just a little bit of improvement over their last game against the Buffalo Sabres, which, if you recall, was 5-1. How you feeling, Leafs fans? How you feeling about this team right now? Is it a slump? Are they gonna bust out of it? They did win those 2 back-to-back games, again barely, but they won them. They're picking up wins. They got that point against the Coyotes. So they aren't completely bottoming out, as it may feel or seem when you watch the team and kind of see what they're up to. Especially with a tweet that Chris Johnston had today saying the Leafs have surrendered at least 4 goals against in 10 of their last 12 games, which, if you're keeping track at home, is bad. A lot of the time, the Leafs can score their way out of their problems. But guess where that's difficult to do? In the playoffs. Guess what the Leafs have not done? Won a playoff series. So, with Jack Campbell out for at least 2 weeks, and Petr Mrázek, I can't really say tending the goal, but he's wearing goaltender gear. Where do they go from here? The obvious thought is picking up a goaltender at the trade deadline. May I interest you in a slightly used Marc-André Fleury? Now, there may be some cheaper options available. You could get Anton Forsberg out of Ottawa, even though, you know, the Blackhawks just beat them 6-3 yesterday. But going into that game, he had a .921 save percentage, which is more than the Leafs goalies can say right now. Another one I've seen thrown out there is Braden Holtby. But with all these cheaper goaltender options, do you trust that they could get it done in the playoffs? Sure, Braden Holtby has a cup with the Washington Capitals, a team who could also score their way out of trouble because Alex Ovechkin, but I feel like their defense may have been just a bit better. So to me, and of course this is coming from a slightly biased place, Marc-André Fleury would make a lot of sense for the Leafs. Now, they might have to involve a third team because he's making $7 million against the cap, but it's only for this season, so it's a true rental. The Blackhawks have plenty of space to retain half of that. And if the Leafs can't match salary out for salary in, then they're going to have to involve a third team to eat more of that cap. But Fleury's won cups. He has plenty of playoff experience. He's playing well on this Blackhawks team, which is a disaster. It's hard to say, look at his record and look at his numbers this year, because again, this team that he's playing for is bad. But the numbers really aren't that bad for as bad as the team is. He would definitely be an upgrade to whatever the Leafs have going on right now, that's for sure. But what do you think? Again, how are you feeling about the Maple Leafs? What do you think they should do at the trade deadline? What do you hope that they really don't do at the trade deadline? Leave any and all thoughts for me in the comments down below. This game was rough. The last game was rough. It never is a good look to lose to Arizona and Buffalo back-to-back. Both teams have been playing better as of late, but you are the Toronto Maple Leafs, and if you want to win in the playoffs, you cannot be losing to Arizona and Buffalo. So I guess all we can do from here is hope that Kyle has some fantastic ideas up his sleeve for what to do in this next week, and that the games coming up, the Leafs will play a bit better and maybe get some more wins than losses. I'm not feeling too optimistic, but maybe that's because both of my teams are just confusing the hell out of me right now. But anyway, that's all from me in this one. If you are still around, thank you so very much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. If you would like to hear more from me or from Center Ice, you can check out fromcenterice.com, where there's links to all of the places. If you would like to follow along more on social media, all the links to those places are in the description down below. And again, thank you so very much for tuning in. Your support means everything, and I will catch you all in the next video. Bye, guys.